Good evening, everybody. How are you doing today? So, today I would like to explain to all of you about the current research which is related to my interest, which is speaking skill. Let us take a look at our topic today. So, we are going to talk for the first is research question, and then the second one is research purpose, the third one research significance, and then the fourth is research novelty, and then research methodology. So I took this from Linguistics and Education Journal. It was published in 2019. And this was written by Doris Dippold from University of Surrey School of Literature and Languages, United Kingdom, and then Stephanie Bridges, University of Nottingham, Sue Class, Bournemouth University, United Kingdom, and Emma Mullen, University of Greenwich, United Kingdom. Let us take a look to the research purpose. As we could see clearly here that the research purpose is to explore how principles derived from English as a lingua franca or ELF research, for example, accommodation and then strategic competence, which can provide insights into the speaking demands of group work in Anglophone. Anglophone here refers to country which apply English, or in the other word country which the person speaks English, and then EMI, English as a medium instruction, settings which include native speakers as well as non-native speakers. So there will be two group of participants. The first one is the native speaker, and then person who is not always or who is not usually speak English. Okay? And then the second purpose is this to gather their perception, their opinions to interview. Okay, so there will be interviews later on, and this was held and targeted to the first year undergraduate students against Mercer Oracy framework. Okay, and then what is the novelty from this research? The novelty is, let's take a look at this highlighted point that there is no detailed exploration of speaking demands exists so far, in particular for group work involving native as well as non-native speakers. Okay, this is the detailed thing which is highlighted here. So this is why those researchers wanted to conduct more research towards it. And then because there's a gap between previous research, this study wants to fill that and also want to explore to what extent those speaking demands align with the strategic repertoire described as typical for communication to English as a lingua franca. Okay, those are the points. Let us take a look to the research questions. So, what are the research questions actually? Since there are two purposes which I mentioned in the beginning, there are two research questions as well. The first one, what are students' perceived speaking demands for HE HE means higher education, group work in Anglophone, yeah, English speaking persons or English speaking countries, environments, okay? And then the second one, to what extent do the speaking demands align with the strategic repertoire identified by ELF research, okay? And then for the data collection, as I mentioned before, they conduct an interview, which is consists of the group of the first year of undergraduate students, and then in the academic year of 2016 and 17, okay, their perception will be written and transcribed later, and this paper will be their self-reports from both phases of data collection. So later on, we will see how they were interviewed and how the interviews were analyzed. These participants were gathered from four different universities. Okay, and then how was the procedure? So participants were recruited from compulsory first year modules in a course coordinated to academic fields represented represented by each of the investigators. Okay, I mentioned before there were second phase. First one is there were 70 persons who was interviewed, and then 70% is the total, which was divided into two parts. First one 45 in the first phase, and then 25 from the second phase. As you can see later, if you can access to my points here in the Microsoft Word, there were different students, okay, from college in the UK. And then how was the data analyzed? The data analyzed with the interview with audio recorded. So their interview were audio recorded and transcribed verbatim. Verbatim means word by word. Okay? That's how they were analyzed. And of course, the data were used pseudonyms, which is not stated the real name of the respondents, yeah, from the students. Okay, and then we could see here the table. Why there's a table here? Because association between different ORC domains and subcategories were also established by counting extracts of data and data later, which will be coded into more than one domain or subcategories. Yeah, you could observe it here, right? There's a number here, which means there will be the statistical counting. It is different with qualitative. And then an initial quantitative approach count of the instance in which speaking demands were referred to provide an indication of the perceived importance. That's why there is a code and category here. And then the last one is this research significance. So the research significance is Speaking demands relating to the social and emotional domain appear to be particularly important for group work success, followed by those from the cognitive domain such as clarifying and summarizing, stay on task, building on the view of others. Okay, so this is the answer for the question one, that our analysis has found that the speaking demands to group work perceived by students cover all dimensions and most subcategories of the RLC framework. And as for the second answer in this research question number two, the LF research generally suggests that speakers draw on a wide strategic repertoire to negotiate meaning and report. Okay, this is the significance that I mean. An authentic environment for using higher education group work to prepare adequately for employment can only be provided if the university community is brought together and specific groups are not singled out based on their enrollment status, home or international student, or their use of English native non-speaker. Using ELF as a vehicle for this entails the potential to as demands the linguistic university of the student's body. So I stated here that this is the significance of the research. I hope you can get the clear explanation here, and thank you for listening. Bye.